All right, sorry, I'm a little late.
So you do achilas harai chutz l'sukkah, evidently.
What?
Very good, Ravar, very good.
Thank you.
Where are you in the gym?
He's hopping around the one last water ski before the 9 days.
I'm wondering.
It's my son-in-law Yossi, his office in the house.
I hear.
Well, welcome to any newcomers.
Who's that? Avrami Goodfriend. How you doing, Avrami Goodfriend? Welcome. Who else we got?
Yuri Gross.
Yuri Gross. It's Daf Beis, Yuri. Good to see you.
Is it Shlomo Zalman's son? Good for him?
Yes, it's Shlomo Zalman's son. Yeah.
You look like your father. A little bit.
We're trying to be nice on the dog
Right.
and give out
He's gonna leave
compliments.
this year now.
We're trying to be nice to people there, Ray.
It's only
Should I leave?
It's the first daf. Let's be nice. Come on.
Yeah.
Tiago, real quick, I have a family member in the hospital. They're allowed to push all the buttons up and down and everything on the bed.
With a Shinu.
Okay. Say.
Yeah. Yuri, I didn't forget about you. I saw your text and I totally forgot to answer you back. I'll try and remember it soon. Yeah. All right.
What's wrong?
Yaakov, you got regards from Eric Shine.
Who?
Eric Shine.
Oh, I got a what?
Regards from Eric Shine.
Oh, yeah, very nice. Where'd you see him?
He's here in the bungalow with me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Very nice. Regards back. Okay, so let's go, yeah? I guess for those starting now, we'll just read the Mishna quickly again. So if the sukkah is higher than 20 Amos, it's passul. Review the Masha, review this as kosher. All right, that's din number one. Din number two is sheinu gavaya asara tefachim. If it's not 10 tefachim high, the shein l'shloish tefachim or shalosh tefachim, if it doesn't have 3 walls. So halacha number 2 has got to be at least 10 tefachim high. Halacha number 3 is that it's got to have 3 walls. And if it's got more sun than shade, meaning the shach is not too thick, so memela the sun goes right through, so it's passul. Fine. So the Gemara. So Gemara wants to compare this to the kaira, to the beam that you put in front of a dead end street in order to remind everybody not to carry. Right. So there, the lashon is that you have, if it's too high, more than 20 amas, then you have to lower it. So the Gemara's kasha is going to be, how come there it uses a lashon of lower it, and by sukkah it says passul. Yes, it's up to Gemara. The mavi is higher than 20 amas, then you lower it. Yehuda says you don't need to. So that's what it says in eruvin. The Gemara's kasha is Mishna passul, Mishna takanta. How come by sukkah it says if it's above 20, it's passul, and by eruv it just says fix it? Why can't you just say use the same terminology in both? Meaning by sukkah just say lower the sukkah, or by eruv say it's passul. So it's 2 terutzim. So Gemara answers sukkah deraisa tani psula. Sukkah that's in issa deraisa, so you can use the lashon of passul. Mavi the rabbanon tani takanta. Mavi that's at the rabbanon. So then it just says takana, because at the rabbanon we're not going to want to say that it's passul because the deraisa it's kosher. Biba is saying or another teretz the deraisa nami tani takanta. By deraisa also it says takanta. Miu sukkah the nefishi milsa pasuk tani psula. So sukkah that has a lot of different halachas, so it just says it's possible. Mavi the learn if not fish milay, but a mavi that doesn't have a lot, so then tani takanta. So we just use the word takana. Okay, so how do we know that a sukkah has to be lower than 20 amas? So we're gonna have 3 pshatim. So Rabba says laman yedu daresechem people sukkah shati is bnei Yisrael. So this is a play on words, because there it's saying what's the whole reason for sukkah? Is so that they should know, the Daira should know that Hashem took us out and we dwelled in sukkahs after Mitzrayim. Right, so now we'll take a play on words on Laman Yedu, so that you should know. If up until 20 amas, a person knows that he's in the sukkah because he could see it. But above 20 amas, he's not going to know he's sitting in a sukkah because his eye is not going to see it. So that's the first one. So basically the first shot is that the sukkah over 20 amas is too high. You won't be able to see it, so therefore it's possible. Reb Zera says different shot. And it says in the future by Mashiach there's going to be a sukkah that should be for shade, and it's going to be a shade mechayre from the heat. Yes, and now what does that mean? Up until 20 amas, you're going to be sitting in the shade of the sukkah. The schach is above 20 amas. A person does not sit in the shade of the sukkah. Ela b'tzel tfana is only in the shade of the walls. Meaning, if your schach is so high, then you're not going to be getting any shade from the schach. Your shade is going to be coming from the wall.
Zayra is saying it's a Matthias? It's a Matthias? Is that what he's saying?
Yes, he's saying a Matthias.
Doesn't it depend how long the sukkah is? I mean, if you have a sukkah that's 2 by 2, that's 20 amas for sure, you're not gonna get, the sun's not gonna hit you directly from on top to the bottom. But if it's a 100 by 100 and it's 20 amas high, you could get shade from the schach. You're not gonna necessarily get the shade from the wall. If you have a sukkah that's 100 by 100.
Yeah. Oh, so very good. So the Gemara is going to discuss that on Amud base. The Gemara is going to discuss on Amud base. Good kasha. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's Reb Zera. So Amar Le Abaya. That's where we left off, right? Yeah. Again, Reb Zera is saying that if it's so high, you're not going to get this. You're not going to be getting the shade from the schach. You're getting the shade from the wall. So Amar Le Abaya. What?
The Matthias is different.
Why is the Matthias different?
Like
what?
Like Mikey Austin is. If it's 200 wide.
I can't hear you guys. I can't hear it.
Okay, forget it.
What?
Forget it.
Okay, I'm sorry. So Reb Zera, I'm sorry, I just did that. So if you make a sukkah inside a valley, so then it's also not a sukkah, meaning your shade is going to be coming from the mountains, not from the sukkah, from the schach. So does that mean your sukkah is not a sukkah? Right? Meaning, so what if you get the shade from the wall? The Gemara is thinking now, so what if you get the shade from the walls? You're not getting the shade. What you're still getting shade from the schach. Same reason that let's say somebody makes a sukkah in Manhattan. So there's no shade coming from the schach. Your shade is coming from the big buildings that you're in the shadow of. Right? So is that a problem? Right? So Amalei says they said to him, Hasam dal ashras kanayim ikatzel sukkah. If you remove the ashras kanayim, if you remove the valley, then you have tzel sukkah. You'll have the shade of the sukkah. Haka dal tfana is like tzel sukkah. If you take a sukkah that's 20 amas high, and you remove, sorry, they just. They just dropped off.
I love that camp feeling.
You gotta. I had to drive here because it's good internet. So, but they just dropped off the laundry, right? And they're making Shabbos and whatever. Okay, and then now.
Tiago, your son's camp.
That everybody has to try everything on.
Correct. No, they all said already. It doesn't come back too clean. They don't have to try it on before the 9 days.
Tiago, your son's camp was supposed to make early Shabbos, but they didn't drop off the laundry, so they had to make late Shabbos.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Okay. Anyway, so we're saying by the Ashtaras Kanayim, if you remove the mountains or the walls, not meaning the valley walls, then you're going to still have a kosher sukkah. Here, if you remove the walls and you have a schach that's 20 amas high, you're not going to get any shade from it's going to be passul. So that's why it's different.
So therefore, a sukkah in the city is fine, even though you're not getting any sun.
Correct. As long as in the mitzias, it's a lot of lumdus. It's a lot of lumdus, meaning as long as the sukkah has the potential to give you shade, meaning then it doesn't make a difference if it actually gives you shade. It has to be able to properly give you shade in a kosher way. Yeah, fine. So then the third shot is Rava. Rava says it's from here. You got to sit in the sukkah 7 days. Amra Torah says, "Kol shivas hayavim tzei midiras keva v'shabadiras aray." All 7 days you should live in a diras keva and live in a diras aray. Up until 20 amas, a person will make a temporary dwelling. Above 20 amas, a person does not dwell in a temporary dwelling that's more than 20 amas high. Meaning you live in a tent. You never saw a tent that's higher than 20 amas. I mean, I never saw a tent higher than 10 amas either, but certainly more than 20 amas, nobody lives temporarily. They only live in a permanent thing. and it's supposed to be Sukkah's Teshu Shivas Yomim for 7 days, not more than that. So therefore, higher than 20 is a problem. So Gemara says, Amalei Abaya, so Abaya is a kasha on Rava. Elamiata, also mechitzas shabarzel, b'siga chagavon, hachanami deloya b'sukkah. Right? That's the case. If you make mechitzas made out of metal and you put schach on top, that's also not a sukkah. That's a diras keva, right? That's a diras keva. If the whole point is that it has to be a temporary dwelling, so then how do you have walls made out of metal, right? The same thing with these people who have sukkahs all year round, the sukkahs in their houses, etc., etc. How does that work? So this is what I'm telling you. It's like the same teretz. It's the lumdis. Up until 20 hours that a person would make his dira a temporary dwelling. You're still yaitza, meaning under 20, there is the potential to make it temporary. So therefore, even if you make it set, a kavua, it's still not a problem. Nobody makes a dwelling above 20. That's arai. It has to be keva. So So then, even if you make one over 20, since that's not the norm, so therefore it's no good, right? Meaning the point is it has to have the ability to be made temporary. Once you have it temporary, once it has the ability to be made temporary, then that's enough. It can even be made permanent. And the opposite, and if you have it above 20, even if you make it temporary, since most people don't or can't make that temporary because it's too high, therefore it's going to be possible. Fine. Now, so again, we have 3 terutzim, and it's important to know the 3 terutzim to understand the next half of Amud. So there's the teretz, because the Gemara uses the names. The first teretz is Rabbah. He says that you have to know you're sitting in a sukkah, meaning if it's too high, you won't see it. According to Rav Zera, the reason is that you have to sit in the shade of the shach, not in the walls. And according to Rabbah, Rava says it has to be temporary. Thank you. It has to be temporary. And if it's above 20, that's not temporary. Fine. So
What's up, Zera's?
What do you say?
What's up, Zera's reason again?
Hold on, let me put on my Bluetooth. What do you say, Naftali?
What's Rab Zera? What was the second reason? The second, Rab Zera.
Zera was because you're not going to have the shade from the schach. You're going to have the shade. It's that the schach is not giving you shade if it's above 20.
Thanks. Okay.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. Everybody doesn't go like Rabbah because who you deal with doiros. Meaning Rabbah was the first, right? Rabbah was the first teretz. So Rabbah said because you have to know you're sitting in the sukkah, and if it's above 20 amos, so then you're not gonna know that you're sitting on the sukkah because you can't see the schach. So they're gonna say that Rabbah, it's real that Laman Yedu Darasech is not talking about that you should know you're sitting in the sukkah. It's to let the generations know that there's a sukkah, right? That would Klal Yisrael sat in the sukkah. So again, Kulu Karabba Loyamri, they don't want to say like Rabbah that who Yedila Doiris, because that's a Yedila Doiris. Karab Zera Nami Loyamri, like Rab Zera, they also don't say Ahuli Yemaisa Mashiach who sit, because that Chayriv, the pasuk about sitting in the heat, that's referring to Yemaisa Mashiach. Rab Zera, what's Rab Zera going to answer to that? He says a pasuk to answer. Im Kain Lemakra v'chuppah Tia Letzel Yomim. Let it say that should be a covering. If it's there just to protect, right? So why you say a covering? Why are you saying the sukkah? My vis sukkah, why does it say a sukkah? Shamas Munatarti tells you 2 things. One, that there's gonna be protection, right, from the elements. And the other one says is shade. The other one is shade. Fine. Rava, nobody wants to say like Rava that it has to do with diras arai and diras keva because of Abaya's kasha, right? Because Abaya's kasha on him was what about the walls? Now we had a teretz, right? Further this, I mean, there's a few kashas on this Gemara, but okay, well let's leave it. So, but the reason why nobody wants to say like Rava because Abaya's kasha. The basic kasha on that is Abaya. We gave a teretz to Abaya's kasha. What's the problem, right? We gave a teretz to Abaya's kasha. Yeah, fine. Okay. Anyways, now the Gemara goes with something else. Come on, Oslo. Who is it going like? Because we have 3 tiruts to go with. So who's going like this next shita? Come on, Oslo. Adam Rav Yoshi Amar Rav Machlokes Spain B'Shein Tefanas Magias L'Schach. The whole Machlokes is when the walls don't reach the schach. Avol Tefanas Magias L'Schach Afilu Malam Yasamama Ksheira. Right, but even if it's above 20, it's kosher. So meaning what it's saying is that when you have the walls don't reach the schach, because the walls don't have to reach the schach, right? Because as we say good asik, which we'll get to, I think in Sunday's daf, maybe tomorrow's daf, I don't know. So we say that the walls don't have to hit all the way. So there, if the walls are above 20, so if the ceiling, if the schach is above 20, you're not going to see it. But if the walls go all the way up, so your eyes will follow the wall all the way up, and then you'll see the schach, right? So who is that like? Sounds like it goes like the first terror, just as Rabbah, right? So that's what the Gemara says. Kaman, who is that like? Rabbah is like Rabbah. It's going like Rabbah, who says that the reason why above 20 is a problem is because the eye doesn't see it. But since the walls reach all the way to the schach, the eye does reach it. So that's the first. This memory of Rabbi Yoshia is going like Rabbah. Then we say another Gemara. Come on, yeah, who's it going like? This the Rav Huna said the name of Rav Machlokes b'shein ba'el arba amas al arba amas. Right. This is Mike. This is what you were saying. The whole Machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Rabbanon is whether if the sukkah is not 4 amas by 4 amas. But if the sukkah is bigger than 4 amas by 4 amas, then even if it's above 20, it's kosher. So who's that like? So that's Kaman Kerab Zera Domer Mishum Tzelhu, that the whole schach has to be for tzel. But even the Revicha, Ikatzell Sukkah, since it's very wide, it's going to be sukkah. They're going to be tzel from the sukkah. I mean, this is what Mike was saying before, is that Reb Zera is saying that if the schach is above 20, you're not going to have the shade from the schach. Right? You're not going to have the shade from the schach. But if your sukkah is massive, then of course you're going to have shade from it. Right? So the Gemara is saying that as long as it's bigger than 4 by 4, that will be enough. So Kiman, but that's going like Reb Zera, who says that the whole reason is for itself. Okay, a third case. Kiman Oslo. The machlokes is only when it doesn't hold the head and roiv of the body and the table. But if the sukkah holds more than the head and the majority and the table, then even if it's above 20 amas, it's kosher. So who is that like? Again, we're saying that if the sukkah is bigger than Rosh Ruva Shulchanai, then that's going to be kosher. Kiman, who is that like? The loif echad, that's not like anybody, right? Because it's not going to be any big if the schach, if the sukkah is bigger than Rosh Ruva Shulchanai, which is 7 tvachim and 7 tvachim, that's not going to affect anything. What could that possibly affect according to all opinions? Yeah. So therefore, this last thing is not according to anybody. Yeah. Fine. Now the Gemara continues to figure out which one of these 3 shitas is the correct one. So Bishlama, the Rav Yoshia, Pliga, the Rav Huna, Rav Chana Baraba. So Rav Yoshia disagrees with Rav Huna, Rav Chana Baraba. Right now, again, Rav Yoshia is the one that says if the walls reach the schach, then it could be higher than 20. Because they give a measurement of the length, right? Meaning one says Dalet Amos and one says Rosh Harubai. For you, like but he, the Yoshia doesn't. Yeah.
Why is the starting point here that there's a machlokes? All 3 of these machlokes, these gemaras, these members, whatever you want to call them, are b'shem Rav. Why isn't the starting point that Rav holds like all of them? Rabbi, Reb Zera, and Rav.
I don't know. It's why the assumption is that they're all saying different things. No,
I mean, they are all saying different things, but they're all coming b'shem Rav. Why wouldn't the natural assumption be that Rav holds of some overlying svara?
I hear. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, it's a good point. I mean, why are we starting with a machlokes? I hear. But anyway, so the Gemara is saying that it's a machlokes. So again, the inu kayavi shiur b'mashcha. the Rav Huna, Rav Chana bar Rabba are giving measurements. Either if it's bigger than 4 amas, then it's not a problem. Or if it's bigger than Rosh Ruva Shulchan, it's not a problem. And Rav Yoshi, it doesn't. Ela Rav Huna, Rav Chana bar Rabba, name of behechsha sukkah kamiflagi. Maybe their whole disagreement is how much of sukkah needs to be kosher. The Marsa behechsha sukkah bar amas. One says that the minimum size of a sukkah to be kosher is 4 amas by 4 amas. The Marsa hechsha sukkah b'machsekas Rosh Ruva Shulchan. The hechsha sukkah is to hold the majority, the head and majority and the table. So maybe that's their machlokes. The Gemara says like the kuliyama hechsha sukkah Rosh Ruva Shulchan. Everybody holds that a kosher sukkah has to hold the head, majority of the body, and the table. This is where the machlokes is. The Marsa b'machsekas Rosh Ruva Shulchan pligi. They're having a machlokes with where the head and the right of the body and the table is with a machlokes. But if the sukkah is bigger than the majority of the body and the table, then everybody holds his kosher. The whole machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Rabbanan whether the sukkah has to be higher, lower than 20 is from Rosh Ruva Shulchan until 4 amas. But more than dalar amas, everybody holds its kosher. So basically, Gershon is really saying a little bit like you, right? That they're not really about a sukkah bigger than 4 amas, but 4 amas, according to this Gemara, can be higher than 20, right? Fine. So then the Gemara says, Meisvei, so they asked the kasha, right? This is a kasha on Rav Huna and Rav Chana bar Rabba. Sukkah shigavoy l'malam yasem ava psula. Sukkah that's higher than 20 amas is passul. Rabbi Yehuda Masher ad arboim v'chamishim am. It's kosher until 40 or 50 amas, right? So Taisus really says it means more than that. He's just saying 40 or 50, but it means as high as you want. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda said, Ma'aseh b'Hilni Amalka. There was a story with Hilni Amalka Bilud. Sha'isa sukkah gavoy yasem ava. Her sukkah was higher than 20 amas. Vayuskenim nechnasim v'yotzin l'sham. And the Zekanim, that the elderly Talmidei Chachamim were coming in and out from her sukkah. Nobody made a macha. So she's sitting in a sukkah higher than 20 amas, and nobody complained. So there must be that above 20 is fine, right? So Amrullah, so they said to him, Misham Raya, from there you want to bring a proof. Isha Haisa. Hilni Amalka is an Isha, right? She's parted from sukkah. So they said back, no, that can't be. She had 7 sons. And not only that, but she did everything.
If we can't bring a proof from her because she's a woman, then why are we mentioning her?
That's what they're answering back, Rabbi Yehuda.
No, so why not mention her kids? Why not mention her family? Why mention her if it's not applicable to her? Bad example. Bring her kids.
Well, her kids were sitting in her sukkah, no? Her kids were sitting in
but it's her kids.
It's trying to teach you chinuch.
What?
Chinuch.
Well, we're going to get to that. Okay, well, I don't know. Let's see. I thought the Balabatish, that it's her sukkah, so therefore they're mentioning it. So anyway, so Gemara says 2 things. Yes?
Is it shaykh to say that the original raya was from the fact that they went in and out? It doesn't say they ate there. Just the fact that they walked in other words, that they went out of their own sukkahs to go to hers, that they obviously still considered it as a sukkah. And the answer to that is no, they went to covered malchus. That's the kasha.
So what are you saying?
The Hilni Amalka was an issue. She's absorbed from the sukkah. No, the havamina was that the fact that they even walked in is a raya that it's a sukkah.
Right, I hear.
I can't walk into a passul sukkah? I can't walk into a passul sukkah on sukkahs?
Not when the Mishnah Berurah says that your trips should be in the sukkah. You should go for a walk inside your own sukkah. That's what sukkahs is about.
Right.
These were gedolim.
I tell you,
they stayed in the
Gershon,
sukkah.
that's one way to get out of all of my trips, I tell you.
It's a great way. Just put a big copy of the Mishnah Berurah on your wall. You're great.
Yeah.
Or sukkah hopping.
There you go. All right. Anyway, so let's finish up. So they said from there's a raya. She's a lady. So they said no. She had 7 kids, and not only that, but even though she was a lady, she did everything according to what the Chacham said. So Gemara says, why did it have to say that for? And furthermore, she did everything al pi chacham. So this is what they were saying. Maybe she had small kids, so she's still weiter passul. Her and her kids are passul. Are not passul, they're putter. So Mamela, who cares if the sukkah is passul? Given the Shiva Hava, since there were 7 boys, it can't be that there wasn't at least one that didn't need the mother anymore, right? You have 7 kids, one of them is already Higia L'chinuch, right? Because that means the oldest kid's at least 7 or 8, even though I believe Higia L'chinuch is around age 25, 30 nowadays, but back then it was like 7, right?
Maybe she had twins.
This grada negaya to Matzah Shabbos, because Matzah Shabbos chinuch with the wine, with drinking the havdalah, you need to have a kid that's Higia L'chinuch, but not too old, not too young. That's why it's just easier to drink the wine yourself. Whatever. Maybe she had twins. I don't know. What? I don't know why they're not assuming that they might have been twins. Yeah, what are you saying?
My love, she is Mitzrayim, she should be Kerem Echad. So why what's the big? How could they say? How can they say such a terrorist?
I hear you. I don't know.
I mean, the normal thing is not to have 6
Wasn't
kids
that
at a
a
time.
mace?
Okay, it's not the normal thing is
Yeah.
not to have that.
Fair enough.
We're only talking normal cases. No,
it's not bringing,
off the
but it's
chart.
not bringing cases of in Mitzrayim, that hasn't happened since Mitzrayim.
Okay.
See, Rabaran, I see your
Anyway, so-
internet service is also up there is not great either. So maybe it's us Zoomers that are against you.
He has to go to camp.
No, maybe he's a holy neshama. The internet just doesn't get along with him. I think that's what it is. It's pashit, the internet doesn't get along with him. Okay, anyways, let's see weiter. So, meaning,
I'm a
even if
little
you,
bit jealous of that. All the months that I struggled with internet, I didn't have one line like that.
I'm sorry, because you was your Bluetooth. It wasn't your internet, right?
It's Erev
Anyway.
Tisha B'Av. We're trying to be nicer.
That's true. Okay, well, we'll try
We
and find
almost
the
finished the
over
first
next week.
daf, so that's why we started.
Yeah, that's right. Fine. So they're saying even there must have been a kid over chinuch, right?
Yes.
The chisaim katan shein etzarach lima midrabanan. And if you're going to say katan that needs the mother, is it the rabbanon? And she didn't care about the rabbanon. Tashema. So it says va'oid kol masel lo yasel al pi chachamim. She did everything according to the chachamim, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, what do you hear from this? Where do we learn out from this? That there's chiyuv chinuch. We did this in Yuma last week or 2 weeks ago. That it seemed like there's no chiyuv chinuch on the mother. Here, it's very clear that there is a chiyuv chinuch on the mother. The mother is responsible to make sure the kids have chinuch. Anyway, so what's this whole kasha? We still haven't gotten to the kasha. What's that? So according to my number, it says that the whole machlokes is when the walls don't reach the shach. It's the derech of a queen to sit in the sukkah. That's the regular way because the Gemara says, I continue on Amud Aleph, Mishum Avira. Kings have open air coming through. Queens have open air. Coming through. But according to my number, it says that it's a sukkah katana. Does a queen sit in a sukkah katana? So it must be, can Rabbi Yehuda prove? Right? Rabbi Yehuda wanted to prove from Hilni Amalka. Right? It doesn't make sense according to the one that says the small sukkah. It only makes sense according to the one that says the walls didn't reach up to the shach. Some about a sukkah. Her sukkah had these little rooms, right? Each one was 7 by 7 tefachim or 4 amos by 4 amos. Saying what it says, does a queen sit in a sukkah made out of these small rooms? So it's for these small little rooms. The kids were sitting in a good sukkah. And she was sitting in the small rooms because it's tznius. And because of this, Layamri Ladavar, they didn't tell her anything. That's the Tanakama. Rabbi Yehuda saw they were sitting by her, and in the small sukkah, and they still didn't tell her anything. So therefore, you see, that's a proof. That's Rabbi Yehuda is trying to prove that that a sukkah could be higher than 20 because the Rabbanan, the Zakanim, didn't tell her anything. Okay, we'll stop here. I hope that last part was a little clear, but I don't know. Okay, have a good Shabbos. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Bez Hashem. Good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Shabbos, thank you.
Good Chodesh.
Yes. Shabbos, Avrami. What are you saying?
Shabbos, thank you.
Shabbos.
What on earth?
What do you say?
I don't know. My whole.
What's your problem?
I
I hear
you're
you.
gonna say you bring a rye from this Gemara. The mitzvah's chinuch is with a mahuder sukkah. Like lulav and esrog, a chinuch set is whatever. Kemat passul. This is the opposite.
What are you saying?
The her sukkah had to be mamash kosher, mahuder, according to everyone. Otherwise, the whole Gemara falls apart.
I hear. One second. What just happened?
I don't know what.
No,
just
good. We're
happened
good.
to my-
No, I think it's. No, you.
What?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Also, did Hilni Amalka have no husband?
I don't know what the deal is with the history. We need Shmuley for that.
Yeah.
Right?
How is he doing, by the way?
Baruch Hashem, I don't know. He's waiting for results on tests, but he's catching up. So that's a good thing.
Oh, with us? You mean?
Yeah. He's
Wow.
listening in on all of them. Yeah. He
Awesome.
comments to me. He calls in to comment on the thing, but hopefully he'll hopefully he'll hear this too, and then yeah.
It's a shame.
Anyways.
All right. So
Anyways, all right, I gotta run and check on this.